Alright, you ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, let's do it.
Alright.
Alright, so this is straight out of college. I already put the intro in, so we're gonna skip all that. So today we are here, just me, Daniel, with Chase Foland. We go to the same work together in school and stuff. So if you can go ahead and introduce yourself, say your major, what's the school you go to, and when you plan on graduating.
My name is Chase Foland. I am currently, technically I'm a senior. I got half a semester after my senior year, so I got one more semester left. And I'm a communications and an English double major.
Cool. And so we're also actually interning together at Impact Products, so that's pretty cool. So
That's very, very exciting.
So how's that been going so far?
It's been going pretty good. It's kind of boring, but it's pretty good work. I like the people that I work with, and it's just different work than what I'm used to. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm like not used to Sawyer being here, 'cause I'm like used to not having to talk all the time. It's like, oh, I have to talk.
Bringing you out of your introverted shell a little bit.
No, dang it. Well, let's see what I have written down on my question list for when I have brain farts. So Chase, here's a very down to earth question. How did you get into your current major?
Funny story actually. Well, my first major, English, I was always really good at reading, writing, comprehending, stuff like that, and I always enjoyed reading, and I was always kind of like a writer. I did a lot of stuff like just in my free time, like as a hobby. So ever since I was in like middle school, I pretty much wanted to be a writer, and I'd read books, and then just one day I read the Percy Jackson series. Pretty much every middle schooler's read the Percy Jackson series. So I read that in 7th and 8th grade, and I was like, oh wow, this is really cool, and I really connected with the character, because the main character of that book had ADHD, and so do I. So I kind of really connected with it, and once I did, I was like, oh, I really think I'd like to write something and let someone else connect with one of my characters and stuff. So ever since then, I really wanted to write. I started doing writing short stories, writing novels, writing different stuff like that. So pretty much my whole life I always known that I wanted to be a writer, because the English major is a creative writing concentration. So that's kind of always been my passion. But funnily enough, my communications degree came about actually senior year at prom. The assistant principal at my high school, she came up to me after prom. My girlfriend and I were leaving prom, and she came up to me and asked me what I was majoring in college. I told her that I was majoring in English, and she was like, oh wow, that's awesome. She knew that I was a really good writer. She knew that I enjoy doing that stuff. And then she kind of suggested to me, she goes, have you ever thought about being a communications, a public relations major? She goes, you're really outgoing. She's like, you're really funny. You're very extroverted. That would probably be right down your alley. And then she told me that her daughter worked in the PR department for the government in Washington, D.C., and she's like, she makes $100,000, she makes really good money, and I think that'd be right down your alley. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't really think anything of it at the time, but kind of stuck in the back of my mind. So then when I got to college, I was I was going through my classes, and I really I hadn't really gotten any of my writing classes yet, but I kind of always thought in the back of my head, once I started learning about, the double majors and all the other majors and all the whole college, experience, I kind of thought that I would be able to add on a minor. So I originally added on communications as a minor, and then after meeting with an advisor, she suggested that I could add it on as a major, and it's not really that much more besides the core classes, and there's only 2 semesters worth of classes that I really had to take. So I was able to do both majors and still graduate roughly at the same time, about 4.5 years. So yeah, I kind of did it because of a suggestion from a teacher that kind of went out of her way to suggest that to me. Yeah.
Okay. So when you graduate and you're looking for jobs, what are some of the job names of the jobs that you're looking for? For example, isn't the one you got for your internship, isn't it a copyright internship, I believe?
Yeah. The good thing about communications is that it's really actually quite broad. So like you can do anything. Like you're a media relations, like major. I'm copywriting, and copywriting's more or less just like the writing aspect, and you cover like the graphics and the video aspect because that's all PR. But there's like you can't have one person cover everything, so there's just too much.
Yeah.
So for each big company, if you have a really big company, there's a bunch of stuff you could do. I mean, there's some people just hire social media, some people just hire like you said, media relations, which is what you do. They hire copywriting, which is strictly like writing. They hire some is just strictly PR wise, like some PR people just have that. But for me specifically, I really, maybe it sounds bad, I don't really care what it is that I do, because that major was always just kind of a way that it was something that I was good at, and it was something that was kind of a way for me to make money while I kind of follow my passions of writing, like creatively and stuff. But this is like a way for me to like make money and, make a living essentially. So when I look for a job after college or after I graduate next fall, it'll more or less just be, I would like to work in like a broad aspect or a broad term to use for. I'd like to work somewhere in the media industry, something for like a TV company, a movie company like Warner Brothers, like Time Warner, like Disney or something like that. Like that's kind of like a really big dream, is to be able to work for something like that. Doing anything, any type of marketing, any type of PR, any type of copywriting or social media, whatever the job may be, something within that communications aspect. But I don't really have any jobs per se that I'm like, this is specifically like what I want to do, but more or less I just want to work like in the media industry.
So it kind of sounds like you want to move to California with me then.
Yeah, I definitely want to move to California, either there or I'm more of a down south kind of guy. They have a lot of like Tennessee, Atlanta, a lot of those places like that. They have a lot of nice places. But I did say my dream place to move after I graduate would always be Northern California, because it's like I'm not really a beach person. I'm more or less like a woodsy, outdoorsy type. So when you get to California, a lot of people just think, it's just beaches and all that stuff. But you go up north, like right above San Francisco, and it's like woods, there's fresh lakes, and it's like perfect up there, but it's just stupid expensive.
Yeah,
so until I become a millionaire, it's probably probably not going to be in the cards for me.
Right, and then people that really even do try and make it out to California, they usually save up a good $6,000 or $7,000, and that usually just covers the first few months.
Oh yeah,
like, it's insane.
Yeah, my girlfriend's brother lived in California for about a year or two, and he was paying and he had like 4 roommates, and they were each paying like $1,200 a month for rent, and it was a 3-bedroom apartment or something like that. And I'm like, it's insane.
It's probably like a closet.
It's probably like a closet. Yeah, I mean, you could literally, pay $100,000 and you're gonna get a shack on the beach. But hey, everybody, like, people just kind of move there for the lifestyle. A lot of people are okay with living, in a smaller space like that, because they get the beach, they get the skateboard, they can do a bunch of stuff. Like Dante lives in California. My old roommate Dante, he lives there, and he loves it down there. I mean, he skateboards. He lives with like 5 roommates. They have a house outside of somewhere in California. It's in Southern California, but I mean, he loves it up there. It just depends on what kind of lifestyle that you like to live. All about that.
I feel it, because with me, I really don't care what kind of place I live, as long as I have people I can hang out with and just like the outer environment, because I don't really like to stay inside all the time, except I do, just because it's just like what I do is like my studying is a lot of computer stuff. But when I do go out, go out and have fun, I like to go out and just go do all different sorts of things, and it just kind of sounds like there's a lot of stuff to do in California with the ocean, and they got the desert and the redwood forest and all these like.
Could never be bored, because it's so.
There's like just so much stuff to do out there.
It's so damn long. You could go from the very tip of it to the very bottom of it and probably still not do everything. Like I went to New York City for Christmas last year, and it was literally like I felt like we did so many things in 4 days, and then I realized like there's still like you could live here your whole life and not really eat everywhere, not do everything. So that's why I think that's kind of the appeal of the big city for a lot of people, especially young people. It probably wouldn't be a place that I'd want to settle down, but like for a lot of people who are like in their 20s and stuff, I can see why it'd be big, because you can do like 10 years, 20s to your 30s, before you settle down and have a family, do all these things, and there's so many different opportunities, like that's why people go to big cities. And especially for communications jobs, it's really big, because you look at a place here like Toledo, and it's very, very limited for jobs, and the jobs that are, here for those types of things. I mean, you have how many people graduating from Toledo or from, all these kind of surrounding colleges that are like, oh, I'm going to move back home to Toledo, or I'm going to move back around the area, and then like you're vying with 50 other people for the only social media job or the only this job, and it might not even be in a kind of market that you want to really do. So yeah, it's definitely very limiting. I definitely would want to move at least next to like even if I didn't live in the city, I think it would be nice to live like outside of the city, like an hour commute in or something like that to go to work. Yeah. Although I'm a very impatient and angry traffic driver, so I don't know. I wouldn't do very, very good in the city. I'd probably have to take taxis everywhere.
Maybe like when self-driving cars come out.
Exactly. Self-driving cars come out, I can just cruise on into the city and I'll be solid.
That, and then Elon Musk is currently working on, did you hear about that with his underground tunnels?
I did not, no.
No.
So, like a multi deal going on?
So I think this is one of the things he started off as a joke, just kind of like, not necessarily a joke, but just something just to do as a pastime. It's like, a pastime company, no big deal.
Yeah.
But he basically, out in LA, he built these tunnels where it's like you put your car on it, and then it's like a platform that lowers the car down underneath into this tunnel. It goes under LA, and then it goes up to speeds of about 127 miles an hour, and it just takes you past all the traffic to wherever you need to go.
What happens when everybody else uses that, and then there's traffic underground?
That's a good point. That's why he's got to make a bunch of them.
Just got to make a bunch of them. Just make subways for cars is basically what we got to do.
But it's an interesting idea, because what he was saying is when you have all this traffic, you have to think 3-dimensional instead of 2-dimensional, because you're just limiting yourself if you just do roads. So if it's the driving cars, which obviously that's going to be difficult, or the tunnels, which also is difficult, but if you get one of those two, you can kind of get more routes to take instead of just doing driving.
Yeah, I think we gotta revisit the Einstein theory. Just start teleporting places. Yeah. We gotta get a bunch of scientists on that project so we can start teleporting. That's what I would want in my life.
We just gotta bend space and
exactly.
I think what was the other one? You could bend space to like teleport, and then there's like some other method where like time travel. I don't know, but yeah, that's all you gotta do is just.
Or hear me out. We start testing on people. And we got to give someone the ability to slow. So we got to give people the ability to you slow time around you. So everybody else perceives time differently. Mm-hmm. And so it really seems that everything's going faster. So you can go from point A to point B, and it seems like you did it in like the blink of an eye.
Right.
Boom. Slow everything down, but you're going the same speed.
Exactly.
Everybody would be perfect because everybody would be going their speed, and you just be slowed down.
And that's what college is teaching us, ladies.
Exactly. Exactly. University of Toledo is teaching us how to bend space and time to our will.
University of Toledo, building scientists. And what is it? Building rocket scientists or whatever.
Building rocket scientists.
Whatever
exactly.
Their commercial slogan is. Alright, I'm going to grab something to drink really quick because my throat's getting dry.
Okay.
So I'm just going to pause this. And we're back. Straight out of college, talking about college and stuff. My mouth is hydrated, just in case you were wondering. So, Chase, how's life going?
How's life going? I mean, it's going pretty good. I've had some setbacks in the last few weeks. I unfortunately had to put my childhood dog down about a week ago. But, it's getting better a little bit. I had a lot of support from that, and, never an easy thing to do when you got to put down your best friend. But, when you have people surrounding you and a lot of people going through the same stuff, it's very, very, therapeutic. And I've kind of gotten to the point now where, with, all the support and everything, where I'm good. And besides that, everything's going pretty good. I mean, job's going pretty good. Work with Daniel at Impact Products, so that's been cruising along pretty good. Kind of getting used to the atmosphere. It's my first ever, not really my first office job because I've had one before, but it's like my first kind of real internship. Kind of this is probably what I'm going to be doing after college sort of experience. Because the only other experience I had before was I worked at a sales job last year for a few months, just kind of as a in-between job before I went back home for the summer. But besides that, that's going pretty good. I mean, personal-wise, school starts back up after the summer, so we only got one more semester left of school before, adult life, so I'm still kind of grasping the concept of working the rest of my life. Yeah, my dad texted me the other day and he was like, how's it going? I'm like, oh, I'm just getting used to, working 40 hours a week, and he's like, yeah, welcome to the rest of your life. And I think I died a little bit inside when he said that. I'm like, wow, this is going to be the rest of my life until I die. So that's why, I try to find little things. I try to find little passion things that I can do, especially in the summertime, because, seasonal depression is a real thing. Winter comes around. I love the fall time. Fall time is my favorite time of year.
It's the best time of year.
It's the best time of year. Perfect weather, Halloween, football, a little bit of, everything is perfect. That's
You can't beat it.
It's like the perfect time. So I'm fine with that, but I try to do as much as I can in the summertime to kind of make myself happy. I write, I go hiking, I like to be outside, get some of that vitamin D. But yeah, besides that, life is going pretty good right now. Besides a couple of the personal setbacks and stuff, I think it's looking up for sure.
Yeah, I sincerely think that it should be a thing where during wintertime you should work 10 hours a week for 6 days out of the week, and then for summer work 3 hours a day, 10 hours a day, then 3 hours a day for 5 days a week during the summer, just because it's winter, you're already depressed, you might as well just go to work all the time, because what else are you going to do except watch Netflix? So that way,
Nothing.
When summer comes around, you'll have time to enjoy it. And then if you just do 3 hours a day, it's 3 hours is such a perfect time, because it's not too long. It's just enough time to where you're doing something every day, to where because you always have to keep your mind on something. You can't just. If I were to just have nothing going on over the summer, I'd get bored. So if you have just a little bit of work,
Yeah, because the summertime, you're taking off all this time to. You're taking all this time off of work essentially because you're going on vacation. Whereas in the winter. I guess some people go to vacation in the wintertime because they're trying to get away from the cold and maybe they're going somewhere warm.
Yeah.
But more than likely, people are going somewhere in the summer because it's nicer. They're going on camping trips, doing stuff. So, yeah, I believe that. I saw this article the other day on Facebook or whatever online somewhere, and this CEO gives his employees I don't know, it's a certain type of vacation time. He gives it in the summertime, he gives them extra vacation time. So they can go on vacations in the summertime because, he says it boosts productivity for all of his employees. A lot of them are way more productive because in the summertime, it's so warm out. You look at your phone and you see it's 80 degrees outside. You're not going to be productive because all you can think about is wanting to go outside and swim or just go for a run or do anything outside, go do anything, have a campfire, whatever. So you're sitting there at work and you're I just don't want to be here.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. I think that you could work. I would rather work more in the winter because you don't do anything. And the only time that you really have to do anything, you get back off of work and you're just staying inside, watch TV, do whatever. And then you get off. So I'd say from about June until November, you work less. Because there's way more to do during that time. On top of in the fall time, you have apple orchards, you have Halloween stuff, you have all this stuff going on. Whereas, in the wintertime, I couldn't remember the last time I went sledding, which is the only thing to do in the wintertime, or snowboard. Because around here, it gets so cold that you can't even stand to be outside. Mm-hmm. It's you go outside and your face is burning from it being cold. And then you're just okay, I don't even want to be outside anymore. And then you just go back inside. But I don't think I've went sledding since I was 12 or 13.
Yeah.
See,
what we need to do about climate change is we just need to, instead of just making everything a little hotter each year, we just need to make certain areas kind of like a global equator. You know how it's always the same temperature where the equator is at? Mm-hmm. So just take that and then just do that around the world except for Antarctica. Make Antarctica cold, then just make everywhere always 80 degrees. How cool would that be?
That would be pretty dope. Another idea is you just gotta Truman Show it. You know what I mean?
You gotta what?
You ever see The Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
No.
Okay, well, it's a movie where this guy, this movie company buys this baby at birth, and his name's Truman, and they put him in a movie set, but it resembles a city. So his whole life that he thinks is real was actually set up, and these people and it's called The Truman Show. It's a TV show that these people are making, but he doesn't know he's in a TV show. So what we gotta do is we just gotta wipe everybody's mind, make a giant, every city, a dome that is basically and we can't let people leave, and then you just regulate the temperature.
Kind of like not really like the Simpsons movie, but the Simpsons movie had
where they had the dome over top of it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to do. You just got to block out all the bad stuff, and then if the whole Earth dies, just got to preserve everything inside the bubble dome.
Right.
Just got to bubble
right.
people.
This is like a really 420 thing to say, but I wonder if scientists have ever thought about like redistributing warmth like that. The only downside to that is even like the weather affects so much though, because even in Ohio, like the trees are kind of made to go through seasons, whereas in Florida, it's made to go through always 80 degrees. And so in different areas, it could affect even just the wildlife a lot.
True.
Because they're
technically, you know what it reminds me of? You ever see the cartoon, The Lorax?
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of that movie, where they just sell oxygen to people in the city because the whole outside, like all the trees are gone and everything.
Yeah.
So the whole outside's like pretty much like a barren wasteland. Reminds me of that.
Right.
So we just got to start selling oxygen to people in the dome.
But like instead of cutting the trees down, we're not going to cut the trees. We're just going to redistribute.
We're gonna replant them. We're gonna replant them in the dome.
We do need to make more trees. Trees need to be more of a thing. But trees. But no, like so I forgot where I heard this. Like something in the news or something. But it was kind of like an Area 51 thing where it's kind of very low key and not really a whole lot of people know about it. But they apparently, and this is just it's a coincidence that this happens. I'm doing the quotation marks because you can't really see it for those that aren't physically here, which is everyone. But so there was some island that was like not doing what America wanted them to do, and then the next day they had like this big ass hurricane come in on them, and it's like all this bad weather just started happening at them, and like apparently Area 51 is making this kind of like, it might not be Area 51 but some place like it where they can make weather do certain things.
Weather control,
like
nice.
Literal weather control. Don't like fact check me on do fact check me on this because I'm probably wrong, but it's just something I've heard and it makes you wonder like what it's gonna be like in 10 years from now or something.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. There's a lot of like, I mean, I don't know, like there's just so many, like science is very, very vast, and it's very, very like think of like the ocean floor or like anything like that. Like there's like, we don't even like truly like a part of the ocean or whatever, like we don't even know like, we know like a very small percentage
of freaky monsters down there.
As I said, like the ocean floor. So like there's a lot, like Atlantis could be in the ocean floor and we wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? We'd have no idea because there's such a high percentage of the ocean that we haven't even discovered yet.
Well, that would be some like high tech stuff going on if Atlantis was a thing. Because that's a lot of water pressure. That's right. They're able to think.
They are biologically made to live underwater, though, so the pressure doesn't even affect them.
Yeah, but I mean, if they look like everything else that lives down there, I don't think I want to find Atlantis because I feel like it would be one big horror story.
That'd be dope, though. Imagine that. Okay, that's officially going to be a new movie, a horror Atlantis movie.
Dude,
that'd be pretty dope.
That would be sweet.
That'd be pretty dope.
Can we pitch this to some really huge media company? Because
I'll write the script. You come up with some effects, dude. We already got like step 1 and 2 done right there.
No, because just think about it, that'd be sweet. Because I don't think anyone's ever really done like a horror Atlantis movie before.
No,
and like this is something that we could discover. Like this is a possibility. It hasn't really happened yet because we haven't had the technology yet to go that far down in certain areas. And it's just like, oh, that'd be so cool.
You imagine, like, dude, just somebody, like, it starts off, okay, got an idea, it just starts off, like, a little mythical. You have, like, some random, let's say, a girl or whatever, you know, like, or a young boy, whatever, teenage boy, whatever you want to make the main character, goes to Atlantis, thinks it's all, like, magical and all this stuff, but then he realizes after, like, you know, a certain point, it flips over, that it's really just, like, super fucked up. And it's, like, a crazy, like the Upside Down in Stranger Things. It's literally like just super nuts. Like that would be dope. That would be dope.
It's like so they go to Atlantis and they see like one of the fish dudes. They're eating a Kit Kat bar and they see they're not breaking it individually. They're just eating it whole. They're like, oh my god, what are you doing? You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly. Or like the fish guys just like don't have dicks but they still masturbate. Whoa. That would be a freaky thing to watch. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That would be.
There's a lot of avenues we could go with
this.
There
is. See, I was thinking of the more realistic route where you know how they have those documentaries where they go super deep into submarines, you see all these really creepy creatures living on there. I was thinking it'd be more of like starting off as a documentary where it's just pitch black, and then they eventually enter into this dark watery area, and then just shit hits the fan.
It's just all from like a camera perspective, like Chronicle.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
And like you can basically make anything with CGI nowadays, so it's very realistic that they can make that.
Oh yeah, I mean look at Aquaman. They pretty much made that entire thing underwater with CGI. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Definitely. I think we got an idea here. Got $1 million project on our minds.
We just gotta find someone to pitch it to now.
Now we just have to find movie execs that we don't know and have no idea of contacting.
Well, so I have good news and bad news. Good news is I've heard that Nickelodeon has this new thing where you can just pitch ideas to them, like anyone can pitch ideas to them. The bad Nickelodeon. The bad news is
they take your idea and can do whatever they want with it and you don't get any credit?
Well, I was thinking the bad news is they're probably not going to go for a realistic horror movie about the place we're talking about.
And probably not fishes without penises. That probably wouldn't even be part of it.
Yeah, they might be okay with the Kit Kat bar, but then also
Kit Kat bar thing probably be
copyrights. It'd have to be like
probably get sued over it.
It'd be spelled CITCAT, Kit Kat.